Islam Makhachev just proved every expert, every loudmouth, and every overconfident analyst dead wrong at UFC 322, and now Arman Tsarukyan is coming for his own chaos, torching Ilya Topuria, calling out Dan Hooker, and dragging half the lightweight division into a war they can't escape.
Считают, что Илья еще не дрался с людьми, которые действительно проверят его на прочность. То есть, многие считают, что сбитые летчики очень возрастные ребята, и что ему нужно подраться как раз-таки либо с тобой, либо с Исламом, чтобы вот понять, от чего он действительно стоит. Ты как считаешь?
Да, я считаю, что он не дрался ни с кем, кто на ходу сейчас. Ему нужно подраться именно со мной, с Исламом, кто умеет бороться, кто на ходу и кто на своем пике. Он там подрался с Волконовским, который уже был в нокаутах, нокдаунах, столько всего пережил. Холлоуэй тоже, условно говоря, тоже уже просто дерется за счет денег. Я думаю, что вот если он там пройдет меня и Ислама, тогда он будет реально один из самых лучших бойцов в истории.
Arman Tsarukyan fires the first missile by tearing into Ilya Topuria before stepping into battle with Dan Hooker, claiming Topuria's entire rise is fake, overhyped, and built on easy paths instead of real killers. Arman says Topuria hasn't faced a single man who pushed him into deep waters, and the wins over Volkanovski and Holloway weren't true tests of greatness, but perfectly timed opportunities that kept him safe. He even dares to say that if Topuria ever gets past him, he could call himself one of the greatest ever, and that line alone tells you how serious the storm is getting.
I think Ilia had the easiest road to the belt. He had to beat Josh Emmett to get a title shot. Who did he beat? Ryan Hall, Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell. Like, that was one of the easiest routes I've ever seen to a title shot. Michael Chandler had beat all of the people he fought before he fought Volk. And he wouldn't have beat Volk if Volk wasn't knocked out like 8 weeks earlier, 12 weeks earlier. You know what I mean? Everything's happened at the right time for Topuria, apart from when he fights me. If I didn't have to have these little times off these intervals and I had an easy route to the belt like he did, I would have been champion by now.
Stay glued for just 30 more seconds, because what Merab Dvalishvili says next exposes a dangerous truth that every Topuria fan needs to hear.
Alex Shervani, Armenian Sports News. Dana White just announced that your friend Arman Tsarukyan will be fighting Dan Hooker in November.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a good fight for him?
Yes, absolutely. This is a good fight. Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, and I guess from this fight, winner will be #1 contender. It's a good for sport. I will say like Arman Tsarukyan has more chance because of his grappler, but Dan Hooker is very experienced, very dangerous opponent too. Because he was able to stop another grappler like Mateusz Gamrot is, and we'll see. It's an interesting fight.
Thank you, bro.
Merab Dvalishvili praises Arman's world-class grappling and calls the Hooker fight a razor blade matchup, where experience meets pressure. He warns that Hooker has stopped dangerous grapplers before, and this won't be a walkthrough. He calls it a pure contest of will, a test that could derail Arman or launch him straight into title contention.
I see Hooker has fight with Arman, and if I pass Charles, I can fight with the winner of Arman versus Hooker.
Who do you think wins that fight?
I think Arman has more chance to win this fight because he's more all-rounder fighter, Good wrestler, strong, good jiu-jitsu, good striking movement. So I think 60-40 for Arman, he can beat Hooker.
Mateus Gamrot adds gasoline by saying the winner of this fight might be standing across from him next, and he picks Arman as the favorite because of his complete toolset: elite wrestling, slick jiu-jitsu, sharp striking, and non-stop movement. Gamrot sees Arman as the man with the advantages everywhere the fight can go.
Arman Tsarukyan, we know what he can do. The man can do it all. Literally, he's a very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist, and he is in his absolute prime. He's only 28 years old with a professional record of 22 wins and 3 losses. Those 3 losses, one of them was to Mateusz Gamrot that Dan Hooker did beat, and of course he lost his UFC debut to Islam Makhachev that he took on short notice, and he still gave Islam a really good run for his money.
Michael Bisping jumps in with a full-throttle breakdown, calling Arman one of the most complete mixed martial artists at just 28 years old with a terrifying record of 22-3. He reminds people that one loss was to Gamrot and the other was Arman stepping in on short notice against Islam Makhachev and still giving Islam hell. Bisping says this fight is pivotal. If Hooker wins, a new contender rises. If Arman wins, the title shot is practically guaranteed. And don't blink here, because Bisping drops a line about Ilya Topuria that flips the entire narrative upside down.
This is going to be a really key fight. If Dan Hooker wins this one, we could have a new contender. If Arman Tsarukyan wins this, then of course the man is going to fight for the belt next. He's only got 3 losses on his record. 2 of them are in the UFC. One was to Mateusz Gamrot, but since then the man is on a 4-fight win streak, and he kind of is the next guy in line. But of course he's going to get through Dan Hooker, and that ain't going to be easy. This version of Dan Hooker, the version of Dan Hooker that is covered in tattoos from neck to toe, the version of Dan Hooker that's going through a midlife crisis and holding bloody scraps in his backyard.
Bisping says Arman wants Islam, while Topuria is dodging the matchup so blatantly that he joked he'd vacate the belt to avoid it. He insists this isn't fear, it's mind games, but the result is the same. Pressure is squeezing Topuria harder than ever, and someone is coming to take his throne.
Dan Hooker is a real dog in this one, but more importantly, this answers a lot of questions in the lightweight division. We were all sitting around wondering, when is Ilya Topuria going to fight and who is it going to be? And of course there were 3 front runners. We know Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett and Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan's been out there, he's been calling him a duck, he's been doing the whole thing, he's been going after him, he's been talking shit. Ilya Topuria's refused to fight him, said that if they gave him a title fight he would vacate the belt.
I'm the world champion. I'm never gonna give him a chance to fight for the title. I will be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt.
I don't think that's because he's ducking him. I think it's because Ilya Topuria just enjoys winding the guy up and making him wait. But if he beats Dan Hooker, he's got to accept the fight. Simple as that.
The Leech, the Negru, adds his own heat, predicting Arman destroys Hooker, pointing out that Gamrot dropped Hooker, and Arman is even more dangerous in those positions. He says an Arman win means an unquestionable title shot, while a Hooker win leaves the division in chaos.
Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. I've got Arman winning. I do. I see this as a bit of... Listen, I thought Gamrot could have won that Dan Hooker fight, and I know it was close and there's damage, and Hooker had some good moments towards the ends of the rounds, and that's what the judges are going to remember, so it's one of them. It's one of them. But I think Arman Tsarukyan is just going to be more comfortable on the feet with Dan Hooker than Mateusz Gamrot was, and Mateusz Gamrot did drop Dan Hooker on the feet as well, so I reckon Arman Tsarukyan's got this one in the bag, and I think if he wins this one, there's no doubt at all. You got to give him the title shot next, no matter what happens to anyone else in the division. If they don't have a title fight booked with Ilya Topuria before this happens, then they need to give Arman Tsarukyan the title shot if he wins. If Dan Hooker wins, who knows if they're going to give him the title shot.
MMA Guru adds that Arman's wrestling and scoring ability everywhere make him the favorite, but Hooker's cardio, 5-round experience, and lethal knees could create shocking moments if Arman slips. He warns that Hooker's recent arm injuries might hold him back, but also that Hooker is the last man you should underestimate. Keep watching, because what Guru says next about Justin Gaethje is the type of bombshell that shakes an entire division.
But Arman Tsarukyan, Dan Hooker, I got Arman. I think his wrestling is good. I also think even though maybe his pure wrestling skill isn't as good as Mateusz Gamrot, I think his ability to score points from those positions is a lot better. And I do think he'll be able to take down Dan Hooker if he wants to. Now, I do think that Dan Hooker's takedown defense has gotten better, but you've got to consider the guy's coming off another broken arm, 2 failed surgeries on it. We've been waiting for him to come back for a long time. Now we're finally getting him back in November the 22nd. I'm worried he's going to break his arm again going through this fight camp. He's had a lot of injuries recently, so I am leaning towards Arman for so many reasons. It's a 5-rounder. That is interesting. Dan Hooker's got great cardio. We could see some interesting things. Arman Tsarukyan is the type of build that's ripe for that knee up the middle from Dan Hooker that he loves so much. So we'll see what he can do here. It's never good to count out Dan Hooker.
Guru questions why Gaethje still hasn't booked a fight for December, hinting that his retirement threat is starting to look real, and even throws out a wild matchup, Pimblett versus Gaethje on a December card, a fight that would blow the roof off the arena.
Justin Gaethje, I'm looking at you, buddy. What are we doing? Gaethje, if you haven't got a fight with Paddy Pimblett booked for the December pay-per-view card, what are you actually doing? Like, I don't know what Gaethje's up to, but if he says if he doesn't get a title shot next, he's going to retire. I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's looking like Gaethje's going to retire then, because there ain't no title shot coming your way, buddy. Just hate to break it to you, man. So maybe we're going to get a Pimblett versus Gaethje in December. That would be amazing.
Ali Abdelaziz steps in, saying Gaethje will retire if Paddy Pimblett jumps the line for a title shot, because Gaethje has always kept his word. Ali respects the business, acknowledges Paddy's popularity, but says rankings mean nothing if Arman doesn't get his shot before anyone else.
Justin Gaethje never break his word. If he get jumped by Paddy, he will retire, and he will never fight again in AFC. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. But, you know, UFC is a business. Listen, Paddy Pimblett, I got nothing against the young man. He's great, he's entertaining. His last 3 opponents is 0-13. You know what I'm saying? How he be ahead in the ranking, Justin Gaethje ahead of him. Justin Gaethje give the UFC favorite after favorite after favorite. What Paddy Pimblett have done to the UFC to deserve a shot over Justin Gaethje? If it's pure entertainment, okay, give it to him. But if it's pure merit, it's Justin Gaethje.
Did they try to make the Paddy Pimblett fight? Did they propose it to you guys?
I don't think anybody got proposed to do anything. Listen, the only guy, if you get a title shot over Justin Gaethje, is Arman.
Ali doubles down, saying Arman crushes Hooker with ease, calling the fight non-competitive. He insists it's not personal. Arman is just operating on another level of fight IQ and technique.
Hey, by the way, Dan Hooker fighting Arman. That's pretty cool, right? At least someone's fighting Arman. No one wanted to fight him. They're fighting in November. I think Arman gonna beat the shit out of them.
Bad. I do. I think.
Hey, come on, Islam. I think Islam's become a Dan Hooker fan. I saw on Twitter. I think he's.
I'm telling you.
No?
I'm telling you. I think Arman is gonna beat the shit out of Dan Hooker. My opinion. I don't have nothing against the guy, but I just think it's a level to this game, and I think Arman is on a completely different level than Hooker.
Then he unloads more fire, saying he doesn't respect Hooker for lying about Islam Makhachev and spreading false stories, but he respects him for accepting a fight that most of the division refused. He says Hooker has nothing to lose, but Arman will dominate him regardless.
Do you respect him? At least he's taking the Arman fight, right? No one wanted to fight.
I don't respect Dan Hooker because he lied. He lied about Islam and IV shit, and I don't think he should have did that. But I don't have nothing against him, But I respect him as a man, no. Because he lied, this whole Australia bullshit, that was a lie. But in a way, also when he fought Islam smashed him, and I get it, he have to ride with his team and stuff, but he's a liar. But personally, I have anything against, no. But I respect this. It's something you have to be I respect, like Izzy, Israel Adesanya, I respect him. Volk, I respect him. Some certain guys I just respect. But when you start lying about people to stay relevant, keep your name in, I don't think it's really cool. But listen, I respect him. He's taking a fight against Arman. He have nothing to lose, really, But I think Arman is just going to torture him.
Michael Bisping circles back to Ilya Topuria, warning him that the UFC won't let him run forever. He says if he keeps dodging certain matchups, he could get stripped. Bisping praises Ilya's undefeated record and elite skill set, but says the uncertainty is real. His next opponent could be Arman, Gaethje, or even Paddy Pimblett if things get crazy.
Ilya Topuria has to fight at some time, okay? He's the reigning champion, and if he doesn't fight, then he will get stripped. Of course, he vacated the featherweight belt. He's undefeated. He's probably the pound-for-pound greatest fighter in all of the sport right now. Come at me in the comment section if you want to, but that's just my personal opinion. The man's ridiculous. The knockout over Charles Oliveira, the grappling credentials that he has, the wrestling that he has, and of course, the mindset, the confidence, the fact that he... What's the word that the kids use? Hold on, what did he do? He manifested all of this, okay? He does seem to do that, okay? Just like Conor McGregor, he calls his shots, he backs it up, he talks the talk, and he walks the goddamn walk. But he's got to fight someone. It ain't going to be Arman. Is it going to be Justin Gaethje? Or is it going to be Paddy Pimblett? Will Paddy Pimblett be fast-tracked after beating Michael Chandler, a man that the struggle to get wins in the UFC. Will he get fast-tracked to fight Ilya Topuria?
Dan Hooker finally steps in and delivers his own grenades, explaining why he chose Arman. With the top contenders chasing the belt, Arman needed someone who wasn't afraid to step into the fire, and Hooker said he has always wanted to test himself against the best. He says Arman is the toughest challenge available, and that's exactly why he signed.
I think they're going to do Holloway Oliveira, Gaethje for the title. That leaves Arman in the lurch. He's got to fight me to get back in the mix and to get a title shot. That's always the fight I want, and not because he's a prick and I hate him, but because I genuinely think that he's the hardest fight, and all those big name guys have like an excuse to not fight him. Yeah, I think he's the best at winning fights, and so a lot of these guys have a justifiable reason to avoid fighting him. And so that's been my approach since I first stepped foot in the UFC, is that I want to fight the best guys. I think Arman's the best guy.
Hooker reveals what separates them. Arman fights to win. Hooker fights because he loves violence, competition, and putting on chaos for the fans. He says Arman fights with strategy, Hooker fights with passion, and Arman will figure that out the moment the cage closes.
You're one of the toughest fights in the division. You've been in there with the best of the best. Do you think he knows what he's got himself in for?
I play the game the way I like to play the game. You know, I like to have wild fights and do exciting stuff for the fans, and just a fighter's fighter. You know, I like to fight more than I like to win, and that's just something that he can't understand. He's a competitor. He couldn't be me if he wanted to. You know, he's very good at winning fights and playing the game and being a martial artist. But we don't fight for the same reasons. You know, he fights so people give him attention, and I fight because it's in my blood. I fight because I love to fight. We fight for very different reasons, and he's gonna find that out.
Hooker keeps swinging, calling Arman a spoiled fighter who had everything handed to him, and claiming Arman has been undermining him for months. Hooker says he built his career from the dirt through grind and pain, and that Arman's money and comfort won't protect him when the war begins.
He's just been chiming at me since he first got in the UFC, and I'm just not one. I'll chime back, you know, like he just makes it like he discredits me as a fighter. He says that I turn him down and running away from him and stuff like this. So he's been carrying on for all these years, and yeah, now like I've obviously chimed back, and I'm not one to mince my words when I'm talking back to someone. Yeah, I just kind of think he's a spoiled little rich kid that's had everything handed to him, and yeah, I think I'm like the epitome of, I'm just the complete opposite of that. Like, I've taken everything that I have, I've worked hard, I come out of nothing, so I just love to just rub it in his face, really.
Well,
money can't help you beat Dan Hooker. That's what I want to. Money can't help you beat Dan Hooker.
Arman fires back, calling Hooker a tougher fight than Pimblett or Gaethje, because Hooker's long-range striking and precise kicks force wrestlers to eat damage before they can change levels.
Для меня, если честно, все бои сложные, потому что столько тренировок, тренировочный лагерь, весогонка, потом тебе драться надо. Он высокий, конечности длинные, довольно хорошо стал защищаться от партера, встает хорошо, набрал неплохо. То есть, ну то, что он не умеет бороться, вот это самое. Именно в вольной борьбе он защищается не так хорошо. Вот этим и нужно брать. Но если бы я выбирал, я бы, конечно, выбрал бы Пимблета или Гейджи. С ними поудобнее, чем с Хукером. Так как Хукер очень высокий, с такими чуть тяжело драться. Тяжелее подойти, они на дистанции отстреливаются. Такие мерзкие удары ногами у него. Сдалека бьет типы хорошо для борцов.
Hooker reveals this fight motivates him more than a Gaethje matchup ever would, because being the underdog lights a fire in him that nothing else can. He says he thrives on people doubting him.
Is this the fight you wanted?
This is the fight that I wanted. This is the fight that I wanted before the Gaethje fight got matched. This is the fight that I wanted, because I feel like it's a guy that everyone thinks is going to beat me. That's what I want. That's what I want the fight. That's why I want the fight. You know, obviously everyone wants the Gaethje fight and these fun fights. To me, I want the toughest test. I want the guy that everyone thinks I'm going to lose to. I want the guy that the odds are stacked against. And I feel like this is one of those fights. A big underdog. I can't wait to see the betting on it. I love it when the boys make a bunch of money off me. I love coming into a fight as a heavy underdog. That's my favorite. That's where I thrive. That's where I do my best work. I'm excited. I'm excited. This fight gets me out of bed. Gaethje didn't even really get me out of bed. I didn't even get out of bed for that fight. This fight is exciting to me, and that's hard for people to understand. But
Arman responds coldly, saying Hooker's trash talk means nothing, and that once the cage door shuts, the entire fight will be under his control from start to finish. He says his team is ready for every angle, every scramble, every strike.
Sure. Maybe he's gonna talk a lot, but a lot of brothers coming, and hopefully he's gonna they gonna stop me, you know.
Oh my.
And yeah, I shouldn't do some crazy things. I just gotta be focused because I'm gonna have 25 minutes to beat his ass.
When you say brothers, you mean your team, right?
Yeah, this time a lot of people comes to Qatar. They don't need a visa, so this time we're gonna have a bunch of people from Russia, from Armenia, so I'm gonna have a big team.
Hooker mocks Arman for bringing a massive team to Qatar, saying he's never needed anyone to fight his battles and never will. He says he handles every problem alone, face to face.
I've had my ass beat more times than you've had hot dinners, brother. You think that scares me in any way, shape, or form? You're off your head.
You got some pretty tough brothers on your side as well, just for the record.
I got some pretty tough brothers, but I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy, brother. I'm not that guy. I've heard him as well. I'm not that guy. I don't go get no one in my life. You beat me up, I'm not gonna go get anyone else to come and sort it out. I'm not gonna hide behind anyone. I don't need brothers. I have brothers, but I'm not that guy. I don't go and get people. If I got a problem with someone, I'll come around your house and sort it out myself. I'm not. I don't send anyone to go and do my dirty work, brother.
And Hooker closes the heat by admitting he straight up dislikes Arman, now showing zero respect, saying he can't wait to elbow Arman in the face, and that this fight has him more fired up than anything in years.
I don't like his face. I don't like that his face is attached to his body, and I would love to separate the two. I don't like the bloke. I don't know anything about him, but I hate everything he stands for. Can't wait to elbow him in the nose.
Now tell me, after hearing all this fire, all this tension, all this chaos, who are you picking when Arman Tsarukyan and Dan Hooker finally collide in Qatar?